All right, we've got our first photos imported, and now it's time for us to help you make your yearbook. We want to edit a photo, and I'm going to run through the common edits that we generally make. I'm going to select this photo right here. Composition-wise, not nearly as good as the other one, I think we can already see. But nonetheless, it's going to allow us to see some of those edits come through. One thing I do like about this is that it's a little bright. Remember, it's always better to shoot brighter than it is to shoot darker. Now let's go ahead and jump right in and start. We're going to click the Develop button up here to bring us into the Develop module over here on the right. I do have this pinned open, but you could have it kind of hidden there and just mouse over if you want. I always start by clicking Auto and seeing what that gives me. That looks pretty good. For white balance, it looks pretty good anyway, but let's just click Auto and see what that does. Maybe a little bit of change there, got slightly more green, but I can live with that. It looks pretty accurate, pretty natural. Nothing really to do with this. Maybe a shirt has a little bit much on the highlights there. Who knows? We'll bring those down just a tad. I always do the dehaze, maybe 5 to 10 on just about every photo. If you're outside in the sunshine and things, you can really crank it up and make that sky pop, and it looks really nice. Inside, you can't do that as much. For sharpening, masking, I generally just go up to 100, but let me show you real quickly. If I click on masking and I hold the Alt key, it'll turn white, and then as I slowly move it over to the right, and this computer is very laggy right now, it will eventually think really hard and give us what's actually being sharpened. So now you can see what is being sharpened. Of course, when the masking was set to 0, it was all white because everything was being sharpened. But as we get over here, and I think you can see why I generally pretty well just set it at 100. We don't need a lot of sharpening. Our images are generally pretty crisp and nice. So I just set it at 100 and call it a day most times. As far as denoise, new, I guess, for this school year would be the option to use AI to do that. Loading enhanced data is what it says, and it'll bring up a dialog box where you have a few different things you can play with and check. We'll look at that briefly, but I will say that generally speaking, I'm quite happy with the manual noise reduction feature in Lightroom. And we could see here that we can check denoise, and you have an amount you can do. You can, of course, use the raw details, or you could go for super resolution. The biggest thing with this, at least in my mind, not only can you see right now where it's causing this computer to lag, yours might be better, and then obviously get it done more quickly. But when we do this, I would say that the average photo in here takes about 20 minutes for it to render. And with the, I guess, tendency of yearbook students to want to execute this on so many photos, they'll have it tied up for a day, day and a half. So that's not going to work for us. So we're going to cancel this, although I have used it with some good success. I know that for my camera in these conditions at ISO 4000, if I just hit 25, maybe 30, somewhere in there, let's say 20 to 40, anywhere in there, you're going to be all set. I don't need to look at that very much, although we could zoom in and see. The problem when you go really high on the luminance is it'll give it a little bit of a cartoonish look to it. We always hit remove chromatic aberration, and then I do like to click enable profile correction. One of the things you'll notice with enable profile correction is it'll oftentimes bring it up in the highlights quite a bit, especially in the corners and things. That might not always be what you want, so be careful with that one. Don't just do it blindly. But if we wanted, we could take the highlights out a little, and I can tell for this photo I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more using the exposure to get us back where we were. But that will cause the corners to be free of the vignetting and the distortion and things. So there we are. I think we're pretty well set, and we are ready to export this one. We'll go through the export in the next video. Until then, thanks for letting us help you create your yearbook.